so much is that anyone can go through those votes and find a few and highlight them to make me sound like a liberal when I'm running in the Republican primary and make me sound like a conservative when I'm running in the Democratic primary. When I'm running against the Democrat, I should say, in the general election. In 1995, I want to tell you what the Democratic National Congressional Committee actually did to me. They faked a photograph of me and Newt Gingrich. This is remarkable. It had Newt and me standing in front of a banner that said, "Cut Social Security," and we were smiling. Pointing to the sign, "Cut Social Security." I'm not making this up. It was entirely faked. And they sent the photograph out to senior citizens in the congressional district where I was running. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of that might happen in this election, and maybe even in this primary, especially by those who haven't been as active in the party as long as I have, who might not have demonstrated the loyalty to our party that I have over the 22 years since I first declared my Republican candidacy for office. And I wish to leave you simply with this thought. It's not hard to distort somebody's record when that record is as long as mine. But I urge you instead to trust those who know me best and whose words I quoted earlier in my remarks this evening. I urge you to trust the National Taxpayers Union Foundation, which, reviewing all the bills and votes cast in the 102nd Congress, rated me the single least willing to spend money, number 435 out of 435. It was hard to beat Phil Crane and Bob Warner. And I don't think I would have won if Ron Paul had come back to Congress by then, but he didn't until next year. I'd also urge you to consider who's the best chance to beat the Democrat who will be nominated for governor this June. That Democrat will have a lot of government experience on which to base a claim, of governing. George Will recently wrote a column about this race for governor, and he concluded, quote, "If Campbell is nominated, he can win. But if Californians were sufficiently rational to nominate him, their state would not be shambolic." I had to look it up too. It means in a state of shambles. For this race for governor, I ask for your favorable consideration. I take nothing away from the two fine individuals, my colleagues who are also seeking this office. I draw attention to my advantages. I expect them to do the same in their own right. In my case, those advantages are 17 years in public service, including 11 years as a legislator and over 500 town hall meetings. Probably no skill matters more for a successful governor than knowing how to deal with the legislature. Having been a legislator, I think, is a huge advantage. The legislature are not your employees. The legislature are not your board of directors. They are unlike anything you've experienced in the business world. In fact, they're unlike anything you've experienced anywhere. 2.5 years in the administration of Ronald Reagan, PhD in economics at the Center of Conservative Thought in the Economics Department of the University of Chicago. Service as state finance director when we did indeed balance our budget, without new taxes, without new borrowing, without taking money from cities and counties, or using budget tricks. Teacher in the classroom, teaching at least one class a year for 23 of the last 26 years. Deeply committed to making our schools better by lowering class size, by giving parents of modest means scholarships so they can send their children to schools of their choice, including private and parochial schools, and vigorously protecting the right of parents to homeschool their children. I've been dean of the University of California School of Business, and with my 5 years, the ranking of that school, the Wall Street Journal went from number 12 to number 2 in the country. And one last thing that you can't purchase, but must earn by experience over many years. You don't have to guess how I will respond to pressure. You know that I voted to impeach a president who failed to tell the truth under oath, though my district was against me. You know how I voted to go to war against Saddam Hussein when he invaded Kuwait, though that vote generated death threats against me. You know how I went to court to try to stop the war President Clinton waged in Yugoslavia because he violated the Constitution in not having obtained the approval of Congress. You know how I changed the House of Representatives rules so that tax cuts would be scored not as revenue losers, but as revenue gainers when the dynamic economic modeling sets up. You know how I voted against racial preferences when they were sought to be extended in our state to favored groups, further splitting us along racial lines. You know how, as a business school dean, I gave preference to no one seeking admission because they were wealthy, or because they were well-connected, or of a particular race or political view. I have given a lifetime, not just a year or two, devoted to the classroom and to the service of the people of the United States of America and the state of California, to the country and the state that we love. If I ask for your help now, it's because I believe you share that love for our country and our state, and that you join me in thanking God for the exceptional privilege of being able to call California our home. Thank you. God bless the United States of America and the great state.